Hi there. That's a bit of a bizarre way to start this, but anyway, I wanted to come on to talk about the importance. I think I've talked before, but it's worth mentioning again, of enabling others. And I put a post on just this Monday gone about this particular hat, and I said we all wear different hats, and my hair is probably terrible, which it is, and this hat's got my initials on it, but the hat that you wear with a double entendre. Of enabling others is, in my opinion, the most important hat that exists. Whether those others are your parents, your family, your offspring, etc. All these things. And this week, I really put that into action because I've mentioned before, my life mission is to enable others to be successful in whatever capacity, and how they define success is up to them. And someone that I'm quite close to, it just occurred to me that I read this book that I thought was relevant, so I sent that across, and I've sent books out, and that's a great thing to start doing. By the way, is that when you're reading a book and you've finished the book, send it to someone else. Like, it's a nice gesture, and if you don't keep books like I don't, I've read them once and I've taken the notes and absorbed what I want to take from them. Then let someone else enjoy it. You get a lot of pleasure out of that. This instance I'm referring to though was I read this book, and it was about Zappos, and Zappos is a $1 billion company acquired by Amazon. All about how the book's called Delivering Happiness, and the CEO is called Tony Hsieh, spelled Hsieh. Super interesting, his approach to passion, purpose, and profit, very similar to what I'm trying to do and are doing with Allergy. And I was like, oh, I'd love to connect or learn more about this culture they've created. So I found who the culture lead was for Zappos, reached out to them on LinkedIn, cold, no like that. And then once they connected with me, I was like, hey, hold on a minute, I know someone else in this culture people type space that would really value this conversation, and there'd be a nice synergetic relationship there. Let's see what happens. So I messaged this other person and I said, hey, like, this is who I'm talking to, like, I think it would be, useful for you to speak to them, and I'll find an angle, is what I said. And then literally milliseconds later, I'm like, hold on a minute, what? I didn't need to find an angle. Like, we're all human beings. This is really simple. I'm just going to, which is what I did on LinkedIn. You can create groups. I created a group with the three of us in the group. And I said, hey, person X, and this is person Y, and etc. And I think you two would value a conversation. And 5-10 minutes later, they've got a call in the diary, and that's that. Thought nothing of it. Not much more of it, rather. And then later on that day, I'm like, I'm feeling really positive, really happy and fulfilled. And why is this? Very introspective, very self-aware, and I always analyze and critique and all those things. And it dawned on me, the pleasure that's derived from enabling others to be successful, which is what I'm all about, is so far beyond the pleasure that's derived from enabling yourself or spending money on things or whatever, a bunch of different things. It's unbelievable. And everyone will know this, like that time where you helped your nearest and dearest with their homework, or they called you for some advice or a shoulder to lean on, or whatever it was. Like, you feel a deep connection, and that's the other thing. Deep connections with people, and that's what we have we've lost touch of with the coronavirus, social distancing. And on that point, I read just the other day, I think it's a great point, that we shouldn't be calling it social distancing. Now more than ever, we need to be more socially connected. It's physical distancing. So I think I'm going to start using that term. I think it's a better term. And I've mentioned before that vocabulary that you use is super important as to how you frame and see the world, and what tint of glasses that you're seeing it with. So my message really today is to define your life mission, but more importantly than that, I think, is how can you enable somebody else? How can you assist somebody else? How can you make an introduction? How can you, it's not about give is gain. Like, that's all nonsense in my opinion. That might be the case, but whatever. Just give because it makes the other person happy. Just give because it's the right thing to do. It's not rocket science here. I also posted this week about human beings oversimplify the complex or complicated, and overcomplicate the simple. The simple is find a way to be happy, and keep finding a way to be happy, and keep finding a way to make those around you happy. And then in terms of the complex, there's lots of obviously very sensitive issues right now in relation to Black Lives Matter, in relation to a whole host of geopolitical issues across the globe, and then in terms of environmentally, and a whole host of issues going on. And if we as people just follow a path of how can I enable the next door neighbor? How can I enable that person? How can I assist them with what, understand where they're trying to go, what they're trying to do. You can discuss it with them and maybe show them why that path might not be the right path, or this path could be whatever. But you are not in any place to tell someone what they can and can't do, right? You can help them, you can try and empathize, but you've never been in their shoes, you never will be in their shoes. So for example, with me, plant-based diet has worked superbly well, and of weight loss, of focus, of energy, and all these things. But I'm not sat on a dinner table where my family are eating chicken going, oh, that's disgusting, how dare you do that, that's so bad for you. And they're not saying the same things either. We can coexist. It's a great interview. It's about 3.5 hours, certainly worth watching in different chunks if that's how you wish to watch it or listen to it, with Joe Rogan and Russell Brand. And what Russell Brand's saying, because he's very much a vegan and very much an animal rights activist and these sorts of things, Joe Rogan's a hunter. And you hear in the conversation, the point is, Joe Rogan's cool with vegans, Russell Brand's cool with hunters. Once you understand why is Russell Brand a vegan, why is Joe Rogan a hunter, you can start to understand the person and what's going on, and we can start healing these divides, which is really key. So guys, the message today is go out there. How can you enable the people? It's not necessarily giving money. It's not necessarily even giving time. It may just be an introduction. It may just be saying, hey, on the street, someone looks a bit down in the dumps, you say, hey, give them a smile. Simple things, guys. It's really, really simple. Go out there, have fun, and be kind. Take care.